Okay, we're on.
Hi, everybody. It's Anna Sagunina and Jim Ludwig from Main Street Financial Planning, and we're expanding upon the issue of locating either your primary office, your first office, or a secondary office. We've been very fortunate over the years as we've expanded our practice to need to find additional offices where people can meet us. And Anna, would you explain why we had to expand to so many offices?
Well, it's actually because of our clients. So they're the ones that force us to go into more offices. No, it is because of them, because we wanted to be available in those locations. But it also has to do with the state rule that says that if we have more than 5 clients in any particular state, and I think it's called the de minimis rule, then we have to be registered in that state. And so once we got registered, we thought, why not have an office, because that will allow us again to see more clients.
Well, now we're registered in Virginia and we don't have an office there. Why not?
We are correct, because we have our office in DC on K Street, and it's just so conveniently located so that most people are okay coming to DC to see us, and most people are comfortable with working with us remotely. So,
Well,
but
I've got another ad. Our office provider in the District of Columbia also has offices that we could use on an hourly basis, either in Rockville, Maryland, or Alexandria, Virginia. And I've gone to Alexandria, Virginia before to meet people. So
True.
sometimes you might have a landlord with multiple locations like we do, where you could just use an office every once in a while and pay an hourly fee.
That's
Don't
also,
need
I forgot about
to have
that.
an office there. That's okay. I'll remind you.
Yeah. Well,
So,
maybe you should talk about that kind of setup that we have, where we can go anywhere, pretty much, right? Anywhere in the country where this company has
right,
locations.
and it's Intelligent Office, and that's a franchise. The Regis system is
Regis.
much bigger, and that's corporately owned. But you can join Regis at any time and get an office almost anywhere if you're going to use it on a routine basis, even if it's only an hour or two every once in a while. One of the strategies that we employed, though, was to get a virtual office on an hourly basis, and then as our practice increased in volume, we actually negotiated a more of a flat rate per day. Do you want to explain how we came about that?
It's actually, well, it's more of a how many days per month we can have in that particular office, and so we looked at how many hours or how many days we did spend in the past in that office, and then kind of looked and said, well, maybe if we offered them a flat fee, because they're making their money on the hourly charges, right, as opposed to having a deal like they're having with us, where they give us 5 days. We're talking about DC office, and now actually also New York, 3 days a week. So
3 days a month. Let's try a month.
3 days a week. Oh my gosh, it's going to be 3 days a week soon. You'll see. So when we looked at how much we used the office, and then it was just more of a thinking from a cost-effective standpoint, is that can we lock in to have 5 days a month in our DC office and try to arrange all of our meetings in those days. And it's also not that it's because we want it to be cost effective. It also, we want it to be productive with our time, and so that, that also allowed us to group appointments together. And so if we're there, it's a full day, see clients one after another. So I mean, those are the reasons: cost effective and being productive, I think,
That's
are
right.
two.
And it cut down, in both cases, it cut down on our Starbucks bill.
Oh, Jim's Starbucks bill. Anna likes pizza.
It cut down on our coffee refreshment because we ended up only using the offices to begin with on the hourly basis. Then we'd run to Starbucks or someplace else to get free Wi-Fi to continue working if we maybe had 2 appointments that were at different times during the day. We didn't want the clock running all day. Although I'll point out to our audience that what happened is it was either a year or 2 in both cases where we did a virtual office hourly basis, and then we developed the average monthly bill that we were paying them, And in both cases, we offered more than our average bill. So our average bill in D.C. was, say, $420 a month, and we offered them $500 a month, thinking that I spent the difference at Starbucks anyway, so I'd rather just spend it in the office where they have free coffee. And it was the same way in New York. I think the average bill was about $230 a month, and we offered them $300. And then Anna started going to New York too, and we did 4 days last month. So, but we only paid an hourly rate for Anna's hour and a half that she was in on the 4th day. Anyway, you can do things like that if you become well acquainted with your landlords. They understand your business model, and it's a win-win situation. They get more on an average basis, and you have more productivity and flexibility in your scheduling. And most people, like in New York, it's only 3 days or 4 days a month. Most people will cooperate, and in fact, every once in a while, either in D.C. or in New York, we meet people on a Saturday, because we're doing a lot of middle-class people, like you that are watching this probably are too. Now, Anna, you had an unusual experience that I've never had. You decided to move across the country where you knew no one and follow your husband who had gone into a new occupation, and you decided you were going to set up an office there. How did you go about finding an office where you had never been before and you didn't know a soul?
Yeah, so I actually, what I did is I didn't have a particular strategy in mind when I started looking at offices. I started looking to see what was available, because I had a particular budget in mind that I wanted to allocate for this. And so I went on Craigslist, and I actually had, since I moved, I had 2 offices. I have moved from one that I was renting part-time, but it was really convenient. I chose that office for one particular reason, because it was really close to a train that runs across the peninsula from San Jose all the way to San Francisco. And so I thought, you know what, if I had an office that was really close to a train station, anybody can come see me, because they can come either from all the way as far as San Francisco, and I was in the middle, or actually 3/4 in if you look at the map, and it was just convenient, and I didn't have to drive myself. So that was the primary reason for me to have that first office, and it was only actually, unfortunately, available 3 days a week, and so I used it for about, I think, a year, maybe a year and a couple of months, and then I found another office that was actually close to the train station as well, but in the town that was about 2 or 3 miles away. And so I still employ that strategy where people can get to the office by train, but because this new office that I have now, it's located in a small town that has issues with parking. So that's something that I didn't think through, because I was so concentrated on thinking about, okay, public transportation, and Bay Area is one of those places that could use a little bit more of a public transportation. So, but people still drive cars, and so I find sometimes that when clients come in, the first thing they mention is like, oh my gosh, it was so hard to find parking, and I know that. So keep in mind that being close to a public transportation is important, but also allowing to have enough parking spaces is also another important point.
Well, Anna, have you ever thought about renting one parking spot on a monthly basis, and then you occupy it part of the time, and then when you know a client's coming, you'd move your car to street parking for that period of time? Would that be any benefit to you?
Probably not, because I'd rather give them 4 quarters for an hour worth of parking, as opposed to paying a parking fee. And it's a good idea though, but I don't think it would work for the office that I have in Burlingame, because it's a small little town, and it's all meter parking anyway. So, but it's something to think about for sure. I like that, Jim.
Well, now sometimes you can find relatives that might rent you out or give you an office. And I think I employed that strategy.
Yes, you did. We're still employing it.
Right. So we have a brother with a company in Santa Barbara. Now I just happen to own 20% of the company, but we get a free office there. And as long as I don't jam the copying machine too often, I think we'll stay with the free office. But you have to think about your relationships and who you might know that might have an office. As long as you disclose it, and that's disclosed on our ADV too, that we get a free office because I'm a part owner in the business, but there's no kickbacks or anything else because of it. But we actually do disclose that we get a free office, and so anybody that's getting a free office in quotes should be disclosing that as to why they're getting it for free and that there's no other compensation going on in the background. You think we've answered enough questions for the people that have read the material on finding an office?
I think we have. I mean, we can talk about this for another half an hour, I'm sure. I guess something else I was thinking. So we have four offices, right? We have 4 offices.
I think we have 5.
Or 5. Gosh, I can't even count. Yes, we have 5. And they all are different kinds of offices. So some of them, like we explained, are virtual offices, and they have different kind of amenities. They have internet connection. They have nice coffee. They have free coffee. They have nice receptionists greeting people at the door. But our offices, like in Santa Barbara and Burlingame, they're more of a I don't know what to call them, a smaller type of offices where you have to be the greeter and the coffee maker and so forth. So, but again, I don't want to say that one type of office is bad or good. It's just you have to see what you're looking for, what your budget is allowing. But then again, also, the reason I started to talk about that is like, what kind of amenities do you want to have? So, negotiating of rate for the office is great, but what do you get with that rate? So if you have an office like we have in Santa Barbara, then that's fine. We also get a free internet, no coffee. But in Burlingame, we have to pay for the internet. We have to pay for the cleaning in the office, so that's also additional expense, or you have to do it yourself. So just some of the points that I would, if I was looking for the office next time, I would be really thinking about those kinds of things. What do I want? And again, I would like it to be close to public transportation, but also having parking spaces, at least a few.
Well, this is Jim and Anna saying thank you for listening to our Hangout and offering you some background on how we've selected our 5 offices. We never talked about the first office, which is I own a 3-story townhome, and it's arranged so the bottom floor is the garage, which you don't see, but the garage and the rec area, and the rec room turned into the office, a full-time office. So fortunately, Main Street Financial Planning pays rent to the owner of the townhouse, and so that worked out to be a good tax-efficient strategy also.
And that's the office you see behind Jim.
Yes, and I'm going to go clean it up right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay. All right. If you have more questions, we're going to be at the Garrett Retreat.
Bye now.
Ciao, пока.